What's up, the squad? Back with another video. Y'all seen the title was going down. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it right here. It says the House Oversight Committee has launched an investigation on Somali fraud in Ohio. It's being led by no other than Representative Brandon Gill. People are saying that he truly is a bulldog when it comes down to this, and will literally tear the fraud apart. Seems like Somalia fraud is everywhere. It says. And they, it's saying and it's stating really everywhere from everybody. Guess who's probably a little nervous? And as y'all see, truly, that, it's Ilhan Omar, of course. Like I said in my last video, yesterday that fraud, the Somalian fraud just isn't in Minnesota. It's other places. It's truly other places, especially, in Ohio. And I know people are truly sick of it. There's a lot of other places, and I truly have been saying that she's truly plays a big part of it, and is spreading, to other states. Got it right here. My little Joy posted and said Ilhan Omar, by marrying her brother, broke many laws. You have one, marriage fraud, Immigration and Nationality Act, and it's very crazy, the things that, we continue to see within Ilhan Omar. And I'm not going to say that you see very little much done, because I know that they're doing, a thorough investigation when it comes to Ilhan Omar, seeing that it's a lot of things. Even though that we know a lot, I truly want it to be the right way. I truly want it to be the right way and done the right way, because it's definitely important, for that. It's truly important for that. Got it right here. It says Ilhan Omar has a message for MAGA and Trump. And truly, I'm sure some of y'all seen this video, but just check out what she said.
It is important for us, one, to remind folks that we are Americans. We're not going anywhere, and we will continue to be in this country. And two, that Minnesotans are resilient, and we will continue to thrive.
So Ilhan Omar says and states that not only she isn't going anywhere, but other Somalians isn't going anywhere, and they will continue to be in this country. I don't know if y'all have saw, but there's been plenty of deportations going on. There's been plenty of arrests. I'm not liking the judges and what they're doing, but there's been plenty of arrests on a lot of Somalians. She's saying that she's not going anywhere, but you do have here, and I know y'all seeing just by the title, says Ilhan Omar and her entire family are about to be booted from America. Mom's document fraud just destroyed their fake refugee scam and wiped out their citizenship. It says, according to immigration reports, Omar's mother falsified documents when they arrived from Somalia, which means the whole family refugee status was built on lies from day one. Says that means that they were never here legally, said CBP Deputy Director Joe. They filed an injunction, but it looks like they may be asked to leave, and if they drag their feet. Says Tom Homan can personally pay him a visit. The Radical Squad member who spent years screaming about open borders and trashing America was never legally here to begin with. Her entire political career was built on fraud, as y'all see. Me personally, I feel like it's truly something that, you obviously want to watch, and you definitely want to watch, what you say, because things like this tend to happen. That's why I say when it comes down to these thorough investigations, it's definitely important for them to do what they need to do so they do it right. And that's just me. You got it right here. Benny Johnson and Randy Fine demands Ilhan Omar be removed from Congress, and America will move to expel her when evidence is released. There is other evidence that will be released. This Ilhan Omar is accused of committing immigration fraud, marrying her brother, involved in the Somali fraudsters, lying about her finances, and operating a fake winery. Check it out.
The president of Somalia comes in, and in whatever language they speak is like he just translated. He's like, Ilhan Omar is the member of Congress from Somalia, not from America. Like, we're well aware of that. She's our Somali member of Congress. And I was like, this is a totally despicable thing to say. This is something that is disqualifying in the extreme. And you've been sort of notching exactly how disqualifying Ilhan Omar's residency inside of Congress actually is, and you want to kick her out of Congress. Can you explain how are you going to do that, Congressman?
Well, look, she's a problem on so many levels. You talk about the Somali loyalty. There's the issue of immigration fraud, which is the real issue that we're waiting on. There's a belief by many, and the president has talked about it, that she married her brother in order to help bring him into the United States. We have seen a massive problem with immigration fraud in the Somali community. But then there's the third level of problem, which is welfare fraud, where we've seen tens of billions of dollars of fraud in Minnesota, where we see that more than 80% of Somalis that have come to the United States continue to be on our welfare programs. And it appears that Ilhan Omar is tied up to her neck in all of that. In fact, the Minnesota State Legislature is doing an investigation. They asked her to cooperate, and she has refused. If she was innocent, what does she have to hide? So we're waiting on a lot of that to come out, both the welfare fraud, the immigration fraud, and then we'll take action. Because someone who engaged in immigration fraud not only shouldn't be in Congress, they shouldn't be in the United States at all.
Congressman, I sat across from the vice president a couple weeks ago, and he said, listen, I want to just give you this on the record. Stephen Miller has the paperwork. He has the documentation that proves that she's here illegally and that she criminally lied on her immigration forms. And we are figuring out how best to action that. And I've heard that also from other sources at DHS. What do you think should happen to Ilhan Omar? What would be your recommendation to the administration if they do indeed have the documents?
If she engaged in immigration fraud, she should be deported. I'm waiting on that from them, and then I will do what I can do in Congress. If she engaged in immigration fraud, if she married her brother, which, by the way, is simply disgusting if you step back and think about that for a minute.
It's illegal, though, also. Like, you can't, it doesn't matter where you're from, you can't do that, right? Based on American law, it's also illegal.
Right. And if she did that, and when they reveal that documentation, I'll take the congressional step to expel her from Congress. What's extraordinary is I don't think the Democrats will vote for it. You have to have a 2/3 vote in Congress. I think it's pretty clear they won't vote to expel anyone. But if she lied in her immigration forms, she should not only not be in Congress, she should not be in the United States of America. Exactly. I can't kick her out of America, but I can help get her kicked out of Congress.
And what would be the grounds upon which you would expel her from Congress? How would you architect that?
Well, it would be immigration fraud. I mean, whether it's how she lied to become a citizen or whether it was marrying her brother to get him in there. If she engaged in immigration fraud, look, the greatest win you can have in the world, frankly, is to be an American. It's something that many of us don't appreciate enough. Part of the reason so many illegals want to come here is they want to be American. There's 6-7 billion people in the world. 300 million of them are Americans. This is a gift that those of us who were born here get, and it is a gift that we extend to certain people who come here from other places. If you abuse that gift, you disrespect every single American who did it the right way, every American who was born here. And so if there is proof that she engaged in that immigration fraud, we have an obligation to make an example out of her, to send a message to everyone else that we will not put up with that in the United States of America. But take that immigration fraud and couple it with the policies that she advocates, the attempting to hide the welfare fraud, the attempt to give more free stuff to Somalians. That should bother everyone. So when we have this proof that she engaged in immigration fraud, when the government goes after her on citizenship and perhaps criminal measures, I'll go after her in Congress.
So you have it here, and I truly, and that he Randy made a really good point. People that did the right thing in the right way, it definitely is, disrespectful. And I find it disrespectful just for the simple fact that not only, they're saying that, you're having that immigration fraud, but you're getting away with a lot of other things, within being a millionaire. And it's definitely crazy. It's definitely crazy. And that's why I don't see how people are willing to protect and love and support Ilhan Omar when she's constantly doing these things. Benny Johnson also posted J.D. Vance, confirms leaders like Governor Gavin Newsom and Governor Tim Walz will be investigated to see if they violated the law of mishandling fraud in their state, which again, a lot of this will lead to other individuals. Check it out right here.
You said that administrators, they don't care or that they're neglectful with the funding. But does your team think that there are bureaucrats in federal or state governments who are actually complicit in helping fraudsters?
Well, we think it's possible, right? I don't want to prejudge these things, but we've certainly seen reports of, for example, Gavin Newsom in California or Tim Walz in Minnesota getting these reports that there were fraudulent activities happening in their states and then looking the other way. Whether that rises to the level of criminal conduct, I don't know, but we're certainly looking into it because as much as we care about protecting these programs, we also care about ensuring that federal and state officers aren't violating the law. And if they are violating the law, then of course we have to prosecute them. That's an important part of equal justice under law. So we're looking into this stuff, but I can't commit to it because unlike the last administration, we tend to only prosecute people when they've actually violated the law, not just because they have the wrong political affiliation. Yeah, go ahead.
So I have it right here, and me personally, I cannot wait, for us. And I know a lot of us can't, but at the same time, I don't know. It's just having that patience. Just not, individuals in Minnesota, but other places, in the United States as well. You literally have right here, it says disgraced Ilhan Omar is still peddling, tired and, says that President Trump has a cognitive decline. And it literally just goes to show you that this is their main agenda to push. It's to bash Trump, talk crazy about Trump, but not having that same energy with the last administration. Check it out.
With expectations quickly declining for Donald Trump's trip to China, how big of a factor is his cognitive decline at this point?
Well, we've been seeing it for a really long time. It doesn't seem like he fully understands what he's talking about, doesn't have a good grasp of the reality that he's created a mess, not just in this country, but around the world.
He said that closing the Strait of Hormuz was a genius move. What are your constituents telling you?
Oh, they think it is not a genius move. If you're just reading 70% of farmers saying that they cannot afford enough fertilizers. There is an economic impact, not just on the price of gas, but on everything else. My constituents are feeling it. Minnesota.
Let me say something. What I find interesting about this whole thing is all this that they keep on complaining about, saying about gas prices, grocery prices, this, that, and the other, this, that. Why? Where was all this energy and all these questions and the energy that they having and the what they trying to do? Where was all that? Within the last administration is my question. I didn't see them moving like this with the last administration at all. I didn't see them asking these questions. I didn't see them, we need to do this and we need to do that. Y'all know their main agenda is to was to not get President Trump in the White House. And now that he's in the White House, they want him out the White House. That's their main agenda. It's nothing to do, and that's what people fail to realize. And they be making me mad. I'm telling y'all, it be making me mad. Check it out right here. President Trump on Ilhan Omar.
Without you, we have Somalia. Okay, a fine place where we have a congresswoman who brilliantly came over to the country by marrying her brother. That was the first law she broke. That was the least of them. And she comes from a country where they have nothing but crime, bedlam, filth, a horrible place. They say it may be the worst place. Comes to our country, and then she tells us how to run the United States of America. It's an amazing thing. Ilhan Omar. It's an amazing thing how they can get away with it, and the people don't want that to happen. And hopefully you'll figure it out. But a very terrible thing. I can't stand it. She says, the Constitution gives me certain rights. Go back to your own country, talk about a Constitution. They don't have a Constitution. They never will. That's why upon taking office, I signed an executive.
So, again, you having President Trump, speaking facts on a lot. And one thing about it that I find crazy about this is that Ilhan has been given a lot, from the United States. And when they always say that President Trump, you're taxpayers, y'all are paying for this and y'all doing this, y'all doing it. Are they not seeing what, Ilhan Omar, what a lot of these Somalians are doing? Like, I'm just confused. I'm highly confused about it. And I find it crazy. I truly find it crazy. You have people that saying that they need to be talking about deportation after a prison term. Me personally, I'm gonna just be honest with you. When it comes to her and her deportation, and the Somalians, I feel like that's the best thing possible, honestly. And that's just me being real. You get a bunch of lies and frustration going on, and I'm telling you, it's truly, truly crazy. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Definitely appreciate y'all. Much love to everybody. Catch y'all next one.